Eric and I just arrived at Brimfield Antique Flea Market. We are so excited to see what they have. We've never been here on the first day before, so I'm wondering if that means there'll be more cool old stuff. Let's find out. There's so much blue and white. I see some Delft mixed in for good measure. And beautiful cobalt glass. I love these glasses especially. I love the etched design in them. We have lots of braided rugs. There's all different sizes and colors. They look really old. I like this wall shelf. I always prefer them in pairs when I can find them in pairs, but so often I find one without the other. That lamp is really beautiful. And I like this little mirror and drawer set. Eric, what did you buy?
I bought Mighty Mouse.
Look at that. Nice purchase. How much did you pay?
$5.
All right. Eric's got the first purchase. I need to catch up. Nice collection of dress forms. These look like they've had some definite use over the years. And Eric was just eyeing up this Coca-Cola sign. It has such a great look. Looks like it's been outside for a really long time. And this roulette wheel looks like it's missing some parts, but it's still really interesting. And I'm picturing this old settle near a giant hearth. It would look so perfect there. This is an interesting wash basin of some kind. Makes me imagine doing laundry in a very time-consuming sort of way. There's some beautiful textiles in this tent, and I'm really appreciating them. Of course, as usual, things in Brimfield are generally not priced, which makes you dependent on the dealer to give you the price. And sometimes, as in this case, the dealer steps out of the tent and then nobody knows what the heck's going on. This is a really interesting little figurine or statue or whatever you want to call it that says checkers. This is actually the second one we've seen. It's really kind of cute. I see some utensils with the green wooden handles. I love those. And this is a great old box. I love library tables like this. This one's not in great shape though. Check out the cat hooked rug. Oh, that's so cute. Let's see what the price is. They want $3.50. So that's gonna stay here. There's some beautiful oil paintings throughout all of Brimfield. I like this sailboat very much. Some damage on it. These textiles are so gorgeous. This one's $175. I love the shade of blue. And there's some more on the next table. Great patterns, great colors. It's really fun to see them. I don't usually find a lot of textiles at Brimfield, but that's been different today. Eric is eyeing up these fire boxes. He actually has two, but not that look quite like that. I'm always drawn to snowshoes. These are $2.95. They're always expensive, but they're always fun to see. This embroidery is beautiful. I wonder if somebody will buy it and finish it. Nice canoe. Last time I was here, somebody bought one in front of me. There we are, enjoying our day at Brimfield, trying not to get too much sun. This is an interesting tin. And I like this sugar one. I like the colors on that. This Butter Sticks pretzel tin is $75. I'm wondering what the tin is below it. I'm not seeing a price. Nope, can't find it. We're enjoying this eagle needlepoint work. It's kind of interesting. And I like the whale. That is so cool. This is a pretty plate. I like the flowers on this. I'm wondering who made it. It's Wedgwood, Sarah's Garden, made in England. Check out these beautiful vintage quilts. Aren't they gorgeous? I love how they're all so different from each other. Wondering what the price is for this one. A lot of the quilts have quite a bit of damage. Like, I don't know if you just saw that huge stain, but this quilt is $155. Here's another beautiful quilt. Oh my goodness, I love them all. Like I said, you just have to examine them with a lot of care for condition issues. Here we have another big stack of textiles. I am actually in heaven right now. What is that?
It was all painted nice. It was
Oh, an ashtray.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Oh, look at that. This was so nice back in the day.
It was something that must have
Hands
latched
were
it.
huge.
And then definitely close to that.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen so many awesome antique and vintage coffee grinders all in one place. Oh my gosh. I don't even know which one I like the best. Although this red one is a contender, I just love the colors on it. We have some interesting butter churns. I've always liked these. This one is $115. There's lots of interesting items in this booth, so I'm trying to take my time and really take them all in. I'm wondering if you're seeing anything that you like so far. If you are, leave me a comment. This is my set of Limoges. This is my exact pattern. And I am really thinking about whether or not I should pick this up. There's lots of pieces, $75 for all of it. I'm definitely giving this a lot of thought. This is beautiful needlework. Oh my gosh. There's lots of interesting and eclectic things in this space. Beautiful artwork. $375 is craziness. And some beautiful old wool blankets. Nice, warm, cozy colors. Here's a beautiful tent. I'm not even going in it. I can tell it's going to be out of my price range, but it's fun to look from afar. There's lots of really interesting things here. Some beautiful, stately looking furniture. These are beautiful plates. These look like Johnson Brothers, $8 a plate. And it's the Historic America series, which I really love. Love the old boots. I've seen a lot of YouTubers style their homes with old boots in like really interesting vignettes. And a little cow pillow. This booth has so many beautiful things in it. I love these little fabric scraps. A little bit of crochet work. Just really fun to poke through it. There's lots and lots of beautiful blankets. This one is $110. There's also some beautiful artwork in this tent. We're still in the same tent. Eric was reminding me that I bought something from this tent last year, which I didn't put together. I'm always a fan of anything with a windmill, so that's very pretty. Some cool hat boxes and little cosmetic carrying cases. This is interesting. This is an old game, and I guess you would wind it up and these little horses would race each other. Gee whiz, it's called. Oh my gosh, it's really, really interesting. This is an interesting piece of wall art. It almost reminds me of pilgrims, but then that can't be right because look at the guy's hat. There's so much pretty lawn furniture out here, as there often is at Brimfield. I love the fabric on this set. I would never have thought orange and gray and white could look so pretty together, but it really works, I think. Interesting Victorian chairs. I always wonder how they do when they're out in the elements like this. Nice Adirondack frame. I have quite a few of those myself. This one looks like it's had some repair though. These are beautiful plates. I love the design on these. These are called the Indian tree. Coalport makes an even nicer version of these actually. Eric is definitely checking out these spark plugs. They're in their original box. They have their original insert and the price is high. This is a cute little sculpture for $175, but one of the dogs is missing his ear, poor thing. Here's a gorgeous hooked rug. And I love this box, especially because I grew up in New Haven County. This whole booth is full of interesting things, and the prices in this booth are pretty good. So that gives me extra encouragement to look around. Here's some more gorgeous textiles. You know I have to check them out. I really like this old trousers rack for $35. I'm thinking about this. We have lots of Pyrex in this section for those of you who love to collect Pyrex. We've just entered a private field. We paid $5 each to get in, and we're really curious to see what it's like. We've never done that before, so let's check it out.
I did.
We are loving this tray, but we don't feel like paying the price they're asking for it. These bikes are unbelievably awesome. They are so old. Can you imagine trying to ride one of these things? I don't even know how it could be done, but it's really fun to see them in person. Quite different from this bike, which is rather later in the production timeline. I had to get a closer look. They want $3,000 for each of these. Look at how old this pedal is. I'm admiring this pretty painting. I don't know what the price is for it, but such a great winter scene. The back is really interesting as well. This flower frog is so deep. I've never seen one that runs so deep like that.
Never seen one that big.
No.
There is so much vintage jewelry and so many vintage clothing items under this like covering. We're under an awning and there is so much. I'm of course admiring all of the miniatures because I love anything painted, and there are some really cool old ones in this grouping. There's also lots of beautiful silver. I love the shine on these pieces, and I love seeing all the different shapes and forms. There's so many adorable figurines in this booth. Beautiful teacup and saucer sets and some Lenox and collectible plates. It's really fun to look through this area. All right, we are headed back to the car, and we are actually gonna bring our car over to a booth we saw previously to see if something I had my eye on is still there. Wish us luck. Oh boy, the traffic going home is a lot worse than the traffic coming in, and you really have to be careful about pedestrians crossing the street here. So we're just inching along. But as soon as we get past the church, I know traffic will open up and we'll be home in no time. Brimfield's only about an hour and 10 minutes or so away from our house. We're really lucky. Eric and I had such a good time at the Brimfield Antique Flea Market yesterday. There's so much to talk about. What do I even say first? So I guess I'll start by saying it's the first time we ever went on the first day. Brimfield is Tuesday through Sunday when the show is taking place, and we usually go on a Thursday or Friday. So we've never been on the first day before, and I suspect that we saw more inventory than usual as a result. For instance, we saw a lot more textiles than I normally see. I actually normally see almost none. And I would say on the first day, there were a lot of them, and they were definitely beautiful. It was also interesting to park in a different spot. We usually park at the church when we first come into Brimfield from Connecticut, and this time we parked on the far opposite end where the show ends, at the very last area available. And so we saw a different part of the market than we usually see. And we paid to go into a particular field, which we've never done before. I would say paying to go into that particular field did not serve us well, because although it was full of beautiful things, the prices were very, very high. I would say about triple of what I would expect to pay in any antique store I regularly go to in Connecticut. So quite pricey. They did have lots of beautiful things. There were tons and tons of young people actually in that field, mostly gravitating towards vintage clothes, which there were a ton of, and also vintage jewelry, which there was also just tons and tons of. So lots of interesting things to see. We wouldn't go back to that particular field, as I said, because while there were beautiful things, there was just nothing that we felt was being sold at a price that we could live with. Now, Eric and I both, we love bargains. We are bargain hunters. We will, though, occasionally pay up for something that we really, really love. In this case, we just couldn't do it. So I'd say overall, we had more luck when we got more into the middle of Brimfield. So not at the fringe end, not in the field that we paid for, but a little bit closer to the middle. That's where we found some tents that were providing some good deals and had some interesting things. So that was really fun. But back to kind of the textiles, I thought it was really telling that at one of the first few booths we went to, it was a huge tent actually, there were three women who we had all grabbed some textiles, and we were waiting for the dealer to come back. He had stepped out for a minute, and we were chit-chatting about, what we would do with them if the price was right. When we received the price, all three of us put our items back because we felt that it was too high. I think that gives you some sense. And of course, what's high to me might not be high to you. It's all subjective, right? But I was really interested in this particular coverlet for a bed. And it was very, very pretty. And I thought I'd love to pay $65, $80, $85 would be my max. the dealer wanted 120. So we were just too far apart, and I wasn't sure how it would fit on the bed. And then of course I started to think, what will the cats and the dogs do to it? Which was another reason why I didn't want to invest further. But that gives you kind of a sense. That's not to say that there weren't some bargains to be had if you really looked hard, and I got actually a really good one, which I will show you at the end. But I think I'm going to start by showing you the very first thing we picked up, which Eric found, and I think is so cool. So it's this old game, and it was made in Bridgeport, Connecticut. We love anything made in Connecticut or New England. And it's this really fun board game that has this bicycle theme to it. And this thing spins a little bit. And here's the back. There's a little bit of writing on the back, which is okay because this is the part that we plan to showcase. So where is this going? I could not tell you, but we just thought this was so interesting. We had a moment of considering giving this to my brother, who's a big bicycle guy, but I think we're too attached. So probably we're gonna keep it. We also found, Eric again found this really pretty divided tray. This is plastic actually, and it's going to serve a very specific purpose. So I wanted something that we could put our soap dispenser for the kitchen and our little holder, little sponge holder in, so that they're kind of contained, but in a really pretty way. And we thought these colors were really good for our kitchen, and that this would keep the things contained that we wanted to. So this was, I think, a good find, and I'll show you how that looks in just a minute. I'm in the study right now, and I think I'm gonna prop this little game right here on the shelves. I think that looks really cute. It's right in front of this old map of Narnia from the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe series. This is a really cool map that I had framed. I really like it. I think this is a really fun little vintage game. Here's how we have the dishwasher soap and the sponge right now. And so we're just gonna pop them into this little tray, kind of keep them a little bit more contained. I think that's really cute, and I think it gets the job done. It kind of keeps them in the place where we want them to be, and it's nice because this dish is a plastic, so this isn't gonna rust or anything like that. Nice little find. I had told Eric that I was on the hunt for something to hold my necklaces, something that I could preferably mount into my closet. I have 2 closets in the dressing room, and one of them I don't use that often, so it'd be a perfect place to mount some kind of rack for my jewelry, for my necklaces. And so we were looking around at different things, trying to be creative about what might serve that purpose. And Eric, again, boy, he had eagle eyes. He found this really interesting metal rack that says Imperial Trouser Hanger, made in New York. So this was, I don't know how you would hang trousers on this. I guess maybe if you use like from the cuffs down, that would be how you would do it. You would have to do it that way, I guess, because it wouldn't fit the waistband section. But that's what it was for. And I thought this would be perfect for my necklaces and could be mounted very nicely into the closet. So this was a good and really actually functional find. And similarly, I really liked these hooks. I thought they had such a nice old-fashioned look. I love the shape of them. I love that there's 2 of them. So I'm not 100% sure where this is going, but probably also somewhere in my closet. And it will be a nice reminder of our time at Brimfield. Here is the before. I have this really sort of inexpensive necklace holder. I probably got this at Home Goods or somewhere similar to it, but I think we can do better than this. So let's see what we've come up with.
Right there?
Yep. I just put all of my go-to necklaces on this trouser rack, and I would say it works perfectly. And I love that it's in the closet, so it's a little bit tucked away and doesn't look messy, but it's really easy for me to reach for any of these things that I want. And I love that it has 3 tiers, so I can use all 3 to really load this rack up with everything I might need or want. So I would say this was a really good find.
Using an old-fashioned drill.
Look at that.
I left my drill at work.
I love it. That's so cool. Here it is. This is gonna really be an excellent addition to my closet. Right now I have these bags on these like really super cheap hooks that I got on Amazon, and they look super messy and crazy. And I think I can do better with my vintage hooks. So let's see if we can make this a little bit neater. These hooks are so perfect for holding my bags. Now they can be inside the closet instead of outside the closet. It's so much nice. It's like nice and neat and out of the way. And I think these hooks are really beautiful as well. So even though they're functional, they also add a little something extra to the closet. I think that works really well. While we're at it, we're gonna take these cheap hooks down. Like I said, these were just from Amazon. And we are gonna hang up these awesome candle sconces. We picked these up in an estate sale last summer, I think, and they're gonna serve the purpose really well. So I've put my dressing gown and bathrobes and things like that on these sconces. They're missing the little like section that holds the candle, and I could probably find replacement parts. But for now, I think they work really well as hooks. I think it looks a lot nicer than the plastic I had there before. And hey, listen, the plastic, it did its job while I needed it to do its job, but this is just much prettier. I'm very happy with how it came out. I picked up this adorable brass turtle. I thought he was so cute. He was made in Korea. It says so. You can very easily read that. And then when you open it up, it has this little ashtray, but the dealer said he put the ashtray in there. So it doesn't have to have an ashtray. It could just be open and be used as a little trinket dish, little trinket holder of some kind. But I loved that he was brass, and I thought he had a fabulous look. And in that same booth, we picked up this little kitchen timer. I've been having a little thing about kitchen timers. I don't know why, but we really like the color of this one. I don't think it was very old, but I think we paid like $1 for it. So why not, right? And then, oh my gosh, I love this. So this next thing I'm gonna show you was $5. So as I said, in general, prices were high, but if you dug around and hit the right booth, there were some bargains. I got this adorable little cat figurine. So this is called Scared Kitty. You can see his little back is up. He's feeling a little bit nervous. And this little guy was made in Japan. There's a little back stamp on his paw. I just thought this was such a cute little kitty. I don't usually pick up kitty figurines that don't look like my own, but this guy, I don't know. Maybe because he was scared, I felt the need to take him home and reassure him. But I thought he was adorable. I think this turtle is cute right here. He adds a little bit of interest, and he goes well with the brass tones of the lamp and the book slide. So I think this is where he lives now. This would be such a cute spot for this little kitty figurine if I could leave it here. This would definitely be too tempting for my cats. They wouldn't want to knock this thing over. So it's not going to stay here, but I just wanted to show you how cute it looks in this spot. We'll find a good safe space for this little one. You might be noticing by now that I'm not talking about anything that I plan to resell, because I didn't really find anything to resell. Nothing was really at a price point where I could flip it for a profit. So I didn't get anything like that this time, and I'm sorry about that. Unfortunately, the prices were just too high. It was actually hard even to find things that we could justify bringing home for ourselves. But we were glad that we did find a few things that are just nice souvenirs of our day. So I found this adorable chicken little book, and of course I have chickens, so I love things with chicken themes. This book is really cute. Look at these illustrations. They are really sweet. The binding is a little bit loose, and there is an inscription in it that always hurts the value of a book. But since this is just for me, I wasn't concerned about it. And yeah, here's another just illustration. It's really sweet. I don't know if there's a date in this. 1919. Made in the USA. Here's just one more illustration. So yeah, love chicken things. So around the same theme, I bought this copy of Henny Penny. That was really cute. The Little Red Hen, another really cute one. This one is from 1942. The illustrations are awesome, and the illustrator signed each one, which is nice, a nice detail. This one I love. This is another Henny Penny. These were just such a great deal. I mean, these illustrations are nice enough to even just frame. And then I got this little Red Riding Hood book that is very old. Actually, the dealer just threw it in because I was looking at it and he wanted it to find a home. It's really cute. And this book, which is actually incomplete, but has some interesting illustrations, called Fun and Frolic Pictures and Rhyme. Apparently these books all came out of the same estate. And then at another booth, I picked up this Betty Crocker's picture book, this great old recipe book. Now this was based on a recipe book that was made in the 1950s, but this is a reproduction from the 1990s. So there's lots of old illustrations and old recipes and things, but it's not as old as it seems. Definitely vintage, but not an original. That's okay because I just loved the binding and the colors, and I thought this might look nice on my kitchen shelves. So I figured I would bring it home and see how it looks. I love the colors in this. I think it has such a nice old-fashioned look. So I think I'm gonna put it up here just for a little color. I think that's kind of cute. I might play around with that a little bit more, but somewhere in these shelves, this is where that pretty cookbook's gonna go. Here's the Chicken Little. I just put it on this ledge right here next to the cutting board. And I think it looks cute with all of the vintage kitchen bowls and things that I have on the shelves. Will Iris leave this alone is the question. Probably not, but I'll enjoy it until I have to move it. This box contains some dog food that is not the right brand of dog food that we usually order. So we need to figure out some way to send it back or something. But in the meantime, Indy has made it his new resting spot. He loves to lie in here, and we catch him in here all the time. So the time comes to get rid of this box. We're gonna have an unhappy kitty, I think. So now for my big bargain of the day. And by the way, we have an Eric haul to show you after this haul, so stay tuned because I think it's always interesting to see what he picks up versus what I pick up if you like to see a really eclectic haul. We were in a tent and I found a stack of Limoges that matched the set I already have. So I have lots of different pieces of Limoges. I like Limoges with pink flowers. But I do have many pieces from the same set that I got at a church tag sale in Haddam just over a year ago. I really love the set, and I used it for the first time for Easter. And what I noticed right away was I really didn't have enough basic pieces for a lot of the kinds of functions that I would normally have. So in this case, there weren't a lot of them, but if I were to have more than 8 people, I would really need more dinner plates, more salad plates. I had no berry bowls, I had no bread plates. Yeah, so I was needing quite a few things. So to find a set in my exact pattern that would go with what I already had and really tick all of the boxes was exciting. So I checked out the price and it was only $75, which was a really good price. The only downside was that we were kind of in the middle of Brimfield at that point, and we had parked at the end and we still hadn't gone to the field yet, which was closer to the end. So I didn't want to carry like a massive box of china around. So I decided, you know what, if it's meant to be, it will still be there. So I figured, let's go back to the field. Let's go to the car afterwards. We'll drive the car over to the tent that has the china. And if it's still there, I'll make an offer. So that's what we did afterwards. And the road was so congested with cars. It was really crazy actually trying to make our way over again. We pulled over, I jumped out, I went into the tent, and it was still there. So they had $75 on it. I asked the dealer if he would take 60, and we settled at 65. And I can't wait to show you what I got. Here is the Limoges set. Please excuse my lack of tablecloth on this dining room table. I'm in the middle of a pretty significant project, which I will show you in a future video. And I just need to have the table bare for right now. But I have 6 dinner plates, which is so helpful. There were actually more, but some of these pieces were chipped, which I knew in advance, and I still went for it because the price still made all of the sense in the world to me. I have some berry bowls, a nice oval platter. I have cups and saucers that I don't need or want, but they were part of the set. I have some bread plates. I have salad plates. I have dessert plates. I have a little nut dish, a sauce boat, a beautiful little teapot. This is really nice. A nice little bowl, a creamer and sugar, all kinds of really nice pieces in my exact same pattern. So this really makes my existing Limoges service so much more versatile in terms of how many people I'm having over. So I can make sure I always have enough dishes, which is really nice. And in case you're curious, this is the stack of sad friends. Again, I totally knew about these, so it's not a problem. But you can see this plate has a chip. This is a really big chip. This guy has a chip. Chip. So I am not going to use any of these. I'm not going to store them. I don't know if I'll just donate them back or what I'm going to do, but I definitely am not going to use those. But this is more than enough for me to make my set more useful, and definitely I can have more people over and know that I have enough place settings, which is so nice. I know that there are some very crafty viewers who are going to say to me that I could make jewelry out of this or make mosaics or do other kinds of things, but I'm just definitely not up for that sort of thing. So I'm not going to, but I am going to hold on to these pieces until this video posts. I'll wait till maybe a week after this video posts. If there's anybody that is interested in these, I would gladly give them to you. I would even ship them to you, although I would have to charge for shipping, of course. So if there's anybody that's got a project in mind for old Limoges porcelain, these can be all yours for the price of $0 plus shipping. But as I said, I'm only going to hold on to them for a week from the time this video posts. So drop me a comment if you're interested. First come, first serve. And if there are no takers, these are just going to kind of make their way over to Goodwill. Okay, so Eric, you have a haul that's entirely separate from my own haul from Brimfield. So tell us what you bought.
That's the first thing I bought. This is Mighty Mouse.
Nice.
cartoon character back when I was growing up.
Yep.
Made by Ideal. Labels all there.
Okay. Yeah, I see it.
Yeah.
Okay. And what do you plan to do with Mighty Mouse?
He's going to go in a barn.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we're going to do a barn tour really soon, so wait for it.
$5.
Nice.
Next is Kryptonite Rock. That is Superman,
Yep.
1977.
Ah, is that when the movie came out?
I would assume maybe the first one. No, I don't think it was.
Christopher Reeves? I don't remember.
Don't know. Good question.
What's in the box?
It's in the box.
Well, kryptonite, obviously, but we're all curious to see what that looks like. Eric is covered in paint.
There's Kryptonite.
That's the kryptonite. It's got a little insert.
Just tells you what it is and why it's worth collecting.
Okay.
Nothing crazy.
Yep.
Apparently it glows in the dark.
Cool. Nice find. Where's that going?
In the barn.
In the barn. While Eric is showing us everything, Iris is having a little grooming session, in case you're wondering. And Indy's having a grooming session right across the way.
$5.
Nice. So what do you have here?
The next one is, if you watch the other video of our haul, I got a Champion spark plug. And I got 3 more.
Oh, yes. This was from when we went up to Mansfield, right?
Yep.
Okay, so we got more spark plugs. And we've got some here on our blanket, because that's what the blanket is here for. This is what it looks like, in case anybody's curious. And you got 3 altogether?
Yep.
Okay, how much did you pay for these?
$7.
And these are going in the barn?
Yep, with the other one. Yep.
Nice.
Got this marble type of, I don't know if it's an ashtray or, I don't really what it would be for. You can see there's like a little indentation area
Yep.
with a little dog.
Can I see it so I can show
Yeah.
everybody a
I
little
just
bit
thought
closer?
it was kind of neat.
That's really cute with the little dog. And here's the back in case anybody's curious. And where's this going?
Probably in the barn.
Okay, and how much did you pay for this?
$2.
Cute.
This is Sterling Beer, 1975. Bobby Unser, Indianapolis 500 winner.
Okay.
I think it was maybe part of another display, but I just am a big racing fan and beer collector. I thought that was kind of cool. Picture of his car.
Very cool. Let me get a close up and keep holding it right.
1975.
There it is. Okay, and where's this going?
In the barn.
The barn is where most of Eric's treasures land. Sometimes they end up in the basement.
It's James Bond.
Okay, so that's a game,
That's
a board game.
Yep. All the quarters are in good shape. That's what you look for in boxes.
Okay, they are,
A
yeah.
little damage, but the box is in great shape. The graphics are really cool.
Yep. Would you mind opening it up so we can see?
Yeah.
Iris wants to see.
Board's in really good shape. The little thing you would spin, or you change the time. I don't know what the deal is with that.
Okay, can I see
The
it
graphics
closer?
are really cool.
Okay. Eric, what the heck is that?
This is an oil can. Let's see, you would unscrew here. Pour oil in. And this thing would, I'm assuming, pump it up. I was told on the bottom, it says New York, New Haven, and Hartford Railroad. And this is how they would oil something in the engine because it was so far in, you couldn't reach it. So you would use this and it could be able to get over to the area you needed to oil. I thought that was really cool.
I think so too.
That's it.
Where is that going?
Let me think here. The barn.
Very nice. We'll get a close up so everybody can see what we're looking at. Very cool. Nice find.
Yes.
So I already shared with the viewers what I generally thought about Brimfield. What were your impressions?
I think it was weather was nice. It's our first time going on the first day. Definitely saw a lot more stuff. Usually we went on toward the end of the week, Thursday, Friday. You could see a lot of things were sold, or their spaces had less stuff. Very expensive. Seems like it was probably double what you could buy on eBay. Not all the stuff, but some stuff. But still worth going.
Yep, so you'd recommend it?
Oh yeah, just to see the amount of people, vendors, it's just a pretty amazing sight, and it's only an hour from our house, or hour and 10 minutes, so it's worth the drive. It's worth the drive from anywhere from Connecticut or even the surrounding states, just to go once, because it's just I would think one of the biggest, if not the biggest, antique flea market shows in this part of the country. So It was a good time.
Great.
Very good time.
So at least one thumbs up, if not two.
Oh, most definitely.
Cool.
Most definitely.
And in case you're wondering what Eric's doing and why his arm is moving, he's petting this little feisty kitty.
Cats and dogs are here. Did you do your haul?
Yep. So that's what I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed this vintage haul and thrifting with me at Brimfield Antiques Flea Market. If you enjoyed this video, please hit like. Please consider sharing it with your friend if you know somebody who might enjoy it. Please subscribe if you haven't already. I am so close to 6,000 subscribers. I am just dying to get there. And whatever you're doing, I hope you have a fabulous day. See you next time.